that ran on twos and fours. My breath came fast and ragged as it ran next to my door. A clarion thought came to me like the ringing of a bell.
You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. And thank you.
You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark with our host, Gary Anderson.
And boy, I tell you, tonight is going by fast. We got Joe Taylor on. And one thing you want to do is check out our website and go to www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. Scroll down. You can actually see his museum. I was really impressed by the size of it. I thought it was some little small building. It's not. It's quite huge. Joe, are you still with us?
I'm still with you.
Yeah. Now, how about reports like anything like Lizard Man, any other strange, werewolves, any other weird creatures that you've heard anything about lately?
Well, I'll tell you about the werewolf of Crosby County in a minute. What I wanted to finish my thought on that Ica stones.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of those stones was made out of quartz that I molded. It's just like the rest of it, style-wise, and you can't carve that stuff with a broken saw blade, okay? So I even had the lady that does the fakes down there. I gave one to her to see if she could do it. She couldn't do it. She couldn't carve it. She said, no, it's too hard. So if only that one is real and legitimate, it almost has to be, because none of those guys in their right mind would pick a piece of quartz. It would take them 100 times longer than just a piece of andesite. So that one stone, and I'm personally acquainted with it, I think says that one's real. Maybe the rest of them are too. That means man and dinosaurs lived together, fought each other, killed each other, and all that sort of stuff. So it's a huge controversy, but that's okay. I'm not afraid of that. But speaking of werewolf, oh, brother, I knew there was when I was out in California doing the Jesus movement, there was the hippies, 1965, up in Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco, down in L.A., the flower children, were all peace and love and everything, and quit getting haircuts and shaving, and the girls wouldn't shave their legs. They all had granny dresses and long hair and all that stuff. And then in 65, when the sheriffs and the L.A. police ganged up on them, beat them all up right there, right across the street from where I used to live. I hadn't actually lived there at that time, but that started the whole hippie movement, anti-cop, anti-everything. So the Jesus people came along as a reaction to that. Well, I was part of that whole deal. And so we had these coffee houses and the place called His Place where you were doped up or, wanted to get free of all your sin and all that sort of stuff. You come there to His Place and there's be someone to pray with you and all that stuff, right? So a lot of people came through there. I mean, we saved a guy's life one night. He died. He breathed his last breath. We got him, picked him up. He's falling on the street. Brought him in and made him drink a bunch of coffee and woke him up and he saved his life. Well, one night, this Navajo Indian fella named Tom B. Came through, and he was actually a Christian. And he was telling me this story of being on the reservation and what would happen if you became a Christian, all this stuff would happen. Oh, my gosh. So he was telling me about it, that at night, when the witch doctors, I guess that's the shamans or whatever they call them, when they would be possessed by their spirit, an animal-type spirit, I guess, he said their faces would so contort that they would look like an animal. and I don't think they grew hair or fangs or claws or anything, but they were totally possessed by these spirits, or these evil spirits. So, okay, that's my introduction to werewolf. Although I'd probably heard about werewolf, they've been making movies about it since the 30s, I guess. So that was in my mind. And here, back in '88, I was writing a column for our local paper, a weekly column called Artistic License. And I was just writing about everything, you know, and I'm a pretty conservative politically and religiously, and I don't mind telling people, you know, if you don't like it, well, you can hit me or something. But anyway, so I made somebody was, okay. Michael J. Fox was doing Teenage Werewolf, the little movie, the little TV series.
Oh, yeah, the movie. I remember that one.
Okay, well, I put a thing in the paper, hey, parents, you shouldn't be letting your kids watch this stuff as though it's okay. And because I knew what Tom B had told me. And I said, this whole werewolf thing it's not funny. It's not a clown suit somebody's putting on. There was a guy arrested, one of our military men arrested over in France or somewhere, who apparently was a werewolf. That's what they called him. They had to arrest that guy and lock him up. So in comes this letter to the editor. And this guy is saying, I'm 30 years old. I am a werewolf. And on a full moon night, I go out to the canyon, strip naked. And the last time I was out, I killed a raccoon and ate it raw. We're all gasping for breath. Like, what? In Crosby, Texas, somebody would... What? So I was just, oh my gosh, what in the world is this? So I went to a doctor and I said, what about this lycanthropy thing? And he looked into it and he, well, you know, there's one in like 60,000 people supposedly experience this werewolf thing. What? Well, anyway, I started writing back and forth to this guy through the newspaper, and he never did take it back. He never go, hey, that's a funny thing, man. We had a good time, did we? He stayed serious to the very last. In fact, people in town, this one woman says, Joe, I wish you'd stop this werewolf thing because my son can't even open his window at night, and he's burning up in his room in there in the summer. We're all scared to go out at night and everything. And they're, well, they thought I made it up. I didn't make it up. There's somebody that's writing this stuff. So the last thing he wrote, wrote to the editor, thanking him, well, actually, the owner of the newspaper was reading all this stuff. And he contacted the editor. He goes, man, what do you got, a vendetta against Joe Taylor? You know, stop this stuff, man. So I want this to end. So, okay. So I wrote a thing. My last story was about a shin kicking contest. These old cowboys down here in the canyon, you know, back in the guys that were World War I, World War II era cowboys, those guys were tough and they were funny, but they were tough. So one day, as the story goes, there was the boss man told all these cowboys, well, okay, you got the north pasture. Bob, you over Blue, and Red, I need you to go up and do something. Well, Red's standing there, and he just kicks the boss on the shins with his boots. He said, I ain't going to do it. The boss kicks him on the shins. He said, yes, you will. And then Red kicks him back on the shins. They sit there kicking each other's shins, two grown men. And finally, the older cowboy says, well, okay, I guess I'll go do that. The owner, the ranch, the boss man, he said, boy, I had about all that shin kicking I could take. So, okay, so why was I telling you that? Okay, well, werewolf thing. Yeah, that was, okay, I'm sorry. So me and this werewolf guy had kicked each other's shins about as much as we could stand, so we ended it. But there was one more letter that nobody ever saw and was never published. This werewolf guy, claiming to be, writes to the editor and says, hey, I just want to thank you for allowing me to have a voice. And he was calling me all kinds of names, a bigot and all that stuff. And anyway, it was typed perfectly back. This for computers. It was typed perfectly, no correction, no misspellings. It was beautifully done. And whoever typed it was an intelligent person. I don't know why or who. We never did figure out who it was. They never came forward and said, I'm the one. And it really, I think, if it were just a joke, he would have come forward and said, hey, man, that was funny, wasn't it? Because Texans are like that. You know, we like to go on and kid people and make up stories and stuff. But, you know, you'll come around and tell if it's a lie, you'll tell it, and everybody will have a big laugh. So did the guy go out in the canyon and eat a raccoon raw? You know, surely not. But that's what he was ascribing is what is attributed to people who have lycanthropy or werewolf syndrome, whatever. And I've never figured out who it was. I finally just gave up trying to find out. But was it the real thing? I don't know. Were werewolves real? I don't think they can grow teeth. I don't think they can cover themselves with hair and claws on their fingernails. I don't think that. If that can happen, man, I'd have a hard time believing it. But that's the story of the Crosby County werewolf and the summer-long thing. I need to publish a book on that, I guess.
I think you do. You know, Joe, long time ago, well over a year ago, I had a guest on, and I did check out with his medical doctor. This guy claimed he was a vampire. You know, and not one that takes psychic powers or from you, actually blood. I didn't believe him, but I talked to his doctor, and his doctor said, my patient thinks he's a vampire and hasn't ate food in a couple years. And I go, hasn't ate food? Well, anyway, I interviewed the guy, and he would actually have his friends come over and feed him. You know what I mean about feeding? They would donate their blood.
Yeah. And
the guy, he claimed, I think it was like 2 years. He hasn't been out of his apartment in 2 years. He claims if he went outside, the sunlight, you know, he would get like sunburn instantly. He would get sick, all this type of stuff. Again, after I called the doctor back after I had him on the show, and I said, this guy is claiming he hasn't ate in 2 years. And he goes, that's what I assumed. We checked out him, and he had no solids in him. And the doctor said, I really think he's surviving off of human blood. So I guess the guy thinks he's a vampire. Maybe he has a mental issue that he thinks he's a vampire, but in all respects, if he's consuming nothing but blood and no solid of any type of other food than blood, as far as I'm concerned, he is a vampire.
Well, the Bible says we're not supposed to drink blood, consume blood, but not to, make blood pudding and all that sort of stuff. So you're not even supposed to eat something that's been strangled or dies of itself. And there's some reason for that. All those biblical laws have a reason for, their protection of your health. I think there are people who become possessed by, I think it's a demonic spirit of some kind, and it causes them to do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do, that an ordinary person wouldn't do. And apparently, there are people who can latch onto someone's neck and break the skin and then drink their blood like that. I mean, that's what